So just some things to remember before starting our submaximal cycle ergometer test is we're going to gather baseline data such as height, weight, and their age, so we can use their age to predict their heart rate max, and also 85% of their heart rate max, because we don't want them to reach a heart rate above their 85% of their heart rate max, and we also want to keep it in between 110 and their 85% of their heart rate max. We also need to make sure that the height of the cycle is set at the proper height. So one way to tell that is when the client is on the bike and his leg is in full extension, we want to make sure that his knee is still bent at 5 to 15 degrees. We're also going to gather resting heart rate and resting blood pressure while the client is seated on the bike. So we're going to have the client rest for about 3 minutes before having them hop on the bike. At that time, we're going to take their resting heart rate and their resting blood pressure. Then we will have the client warm up at 0 to 0.5 kilograms of resistance, but we're also going to make sure that the client keeps a revolutions of 50 revolutions per minute. That way, throughout the whole entire test, we're consistent. So after all our calculations are done, after we've collected body weight, height, age, predicted his age, predicted max heart rate, 85% of his age, predicted max heart rate, we've set the stool, the seat of the cycle to a point where our client's leg is going to be fully extended, but his knee is still bent 5 to 15 degrees. The subject has now rested for 3 minutes, and we are going to go ahead and have him hop up on the bike. We're going to take a resting heart rate and a resting blood pressure, and then we're going to have him warm up at a cadence of 50 revolutions per minute with a resistance of 0.5 kilograms or 0 kilograms. After he's done his 3-minute warm up, we're going to go ahead and start a timer. And then at that point, we'll set the first stage of his cycle ergometer test. So whatever the protocol is that we're going to use for this client, we're going to set the resistance on the bike to that specific resistance, and we're going to have them continue pedaling at a 50 revolutions per minute. And each minute we're going to take his heart rate. Once the timer hits 2 minutes, we're going to take a blood pressure reading, and then directly after the blood pressure reading, we're going to go ahead and ask him his RPE. That's a scale of 1 to 10, asking you how hard you feel like you're working. So 10 being the hardest, 1 being the easiest. So after each stage is lasting 3 minutes. So once 3 minutes is up, we're going to go ahead and bump up the resistance for the bike, and we're going to move him on to the next stage. And then we're going to repeat the process all over again of taking his heart rate each minute, taking his blood pressure at the 2-minute mark, and asking him his RPE right after blood pressure. So for this test, we're going to go ahead and demonstrate proper examination or proper way to do each stage. So I'm going to go ahead and have my client here. He's going to mimic as if he's sitting on a bike by using the back of the chair here. So he's just relaxing right now. And then we'll start a timer, and we'll go ahead and do the procedure for the cycle ergometer. So I've got a separate phone here. We're going to go ahead and start that timer. And I'm going to start by taking his heart rate right away. So I'll have you bring your arm up here as if he's resting his arm on the handlebar of the bike. And I'm going to palpate his radial artery with my index and my middle finger. And I'm going to count that for 15 seconds. So then we'll take that and multiply that by 4. So here we go. All right, I got 22. So we'll take that multiplied by 4. That's 88 beats per minute. So he's
running fast.
He's at 88 beats per minute. So now that was the first minute. We're going to, once this stopwatch reaches another minute, we're going to go ahead and take his heart rate again. So we'll just act like he's pedaling, pedal away. All right, I'm going to give him a few more seconds, and then we're going to go ahead and take his second heart rate. So go ahead and bring your arm up for me. And he can relax his arm on me, so he doesn't have to, while he's pedaling, he doesn't have to use anything. So we're going to go ahead and palpate that radial artery again. All right, I got 20 beats per minute this time. And so we're going to take that by 4, and his heart rate is 80 beats per minute right now. So now we're reaching up to the 2-minute mark. So this is the point where I'm going to take his blood pressure. So here we go. I'm going to have you turn your palm straight up. Relax your arm. And all right, he's at 120/76. So now we've reached another minute. So I'm going to go ahead and take his heart rate again. And what is your RPE on a scale of 1 to 10?
10. You're killing me right now.
10. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and take his heart rate again. All right, so I got 20 beats per minute again. So 20 times 4 is 80. So he's still at 80 beats per minute. So now we've reached our 3-minute mark. So we're going to go ahead, bump up the resistance. We'll go ahead and take a heart rate again at 4 minutes. Take his blood pressure at 5 minutes. And then we'll take a heart rate again, take a blood pressure. So we'll just chill out for a minute. Feeling okay?
10. You're killing me.
So make sure during the test,
slowly.
while doing the test, we're going to make sure he's keeping a cadence of 50 revolutions per minute. And we're going to also ask client questions as if, like, are you okay? How do you feel? Making sure they're not showing any symptoms like dyspnea or they're super out of breath. So we're going to go.
Feeling my arm a while ago.
We're going to go ahead and take another heart rate. So here we go. I'm going to palpate that radial artery. All right, so I got 18 that time, so his heart rate's coming down, so 18 times 4, math whiz, help me out.
No, 76.
76, okay, so his heart rate's at 76 beats per minute.
Ish.
So
72. I was wrong.
We'll go ahead and we'll give him a breather. Here in about 30 seconds, I'm going to take another heart rate, and then we're going to go ahead and do another blood pressure. So go ahead, have you turn your wrist up. We're going to go ahead, palpate that radial artery again, and I'm going to take another heart rate. All right, so he's back up to 20 beats per minute. So that puts us back at 80 beats per minute. So we're going to go ahead and take a blood pressure again. So we're going to have you turn your palm up. Go ahead and rest your arm on me if you need to. I'm going to take your blood pressure here. All right, here we go. Oh, wait. All right, so yet again for his blood pressure, I got 122/76. So he's pretty normal right now. And so this is the point where we're going to ask him what his RPE is. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel?
Is 11 an option?
Is 11 an option? Okay. So if they were to actually say that it was a 10, we would probably stop the test, because that means they're either overexerting themselves or they're just not feeling good enough to continue the test. So that would be an indication of stopping the test. So we're going to go ahead and take his heart rate one more time. And we're going to palpate that radial artery again. I'm going to count for 15 seconds. Here we go. All right, I got 18 again. So 18 times 4, 72 beats per minute. So that is a demonstration of how he would complete a cycle ergometer test. After completing all 4 stages of the test, we're going to have him go ahead and do a cool down at a 0.5 kilogram resistance, keeping a cadence of 50 revolutions per minute. A couple things to make sure of during the test is we don't want his heart rate to reach out of the range of 110 and 85% of his age predicted max heart rate. If his heart rate were to go above the 85% of his age predicted max heart rate, that would be an indicator to stop the test, along with the symptoms such as dyspnea. So for this client, he's 20. We'll go ahead and calculate his heart rate max right now. We're going to take 0.7 times 20. That's 14. So now we're going to take 208 minus 14. So his heart rate max would be 194. Therefore, we wouldn't want his heart rate to reach above 194. And we want to make sure it stays above 110 as well. So we want it in a range of 110 and 194 at all. Oh, his heart rate max is 94. So then we're going to take that and divide it by 0.85. Multiply it by 0.85. So we don't want his heart rate to get above 165, 166. That would be an indicator to stop the test. So I just want to put a quick apology at the end of this for my word fumbling during that whole thing, during that whole process. I was trying to find the words in a couple points and I couldn't find the words and stalled out for a minute. So I do apologize for the fumble in words, but that's my practical exam for you.